reacting to this era or the trend of, telling your story in public, I am all for telling your story. I have told my story, my personal story, and I will do a bit more of that here as well. So I'm not talking against that at all. I think, tell your story. And what I'm going to look at here is the why. So when you're telling your story to the public, the why. Why am I doing it? And who is this public I'm talking to? Okay? So one of the stories that have stayed in my head for a while, it happened last month or so. Well, this person. So there's this young girl who I think she alleged that her dad used to rape her when she was young, and she had all this abuse. She posted it on social media, I think on her Facebook page, if I remember correctly, maybe late last year, September, around that time. So she posted it on her social media, and of course, people came. Gosh, our people like a good story. That's one thing we forget. Like, people like a good story. So when I was growing up, there was this light. So if you, let's say after the rain, and there's a light, and all the insects will gather around the light. If you turn off this light, put the light somewhere else, the insects, they go there. So people are like that. They're attracted to the spotlight. Where's the light today? And people come. So what happened? She wrote all the stories, talked about her father, her mother, her family, really put things out there, and people commented and all of that. But I guess after a week or so, something else came up, and they abandoned her there, and they went on to the next story. But at this point, she had probably destroyed family relationships. I don't know, I'm just making assumptions here. She had probably destroyed some family relationships, alienated herself possibly from the family, and then had no support. Now these people, they've enjoyed your story, they've shared it with their friends, they've insulted your dad, they've done all of that, and now they've gone on. Okay? And eventually she took her own life. She took her own life. She committed suicide. I don't understand everything that went on until that point. But again, when she committed suicide, people came back, and I'm thinking between September and I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months, or I can't remember the time duration. Where were these people? They had moved on to the next interesting story. And I don't know the truth or the falsehood of that story that she told. And I'm not even talking about that because I don't know. It's one person's word against, another person. But I'm not referring to that. I'm just saying that, what did that achieve? I don't understand what that telling that story in the first place achieved. I don't see what came out of it, because as I understood, by the time she took her life, she was frustrated, she was hungry, she had no help, and she took her own life. So I don't understand what the story achieved or what she was trying to achieve. But this is my thinking. It's okay to tell your story, but be very clear about the why. Why am I telling this story? I believe if I want to express my truth, unburden my own truth, I believe, yes, I'll tell my story. But if you're telling the story just to get at someone else, the problem you find there is that people don't really care. It's not that serious. People would listen, they would say something, and then they would move on without really getting at that person. In that minute, maybe people might go search up the person's name. Oh, this person did this sort of thing. People move on really quickly. So there's another one that's just come up really, really recently, some days ago, about this husband and wife and this pastor in the middle, and the husband is claiming that the pastor is sleeping with the wife is countering it and all of that. Again, those sort of stories, I don't know. So I try not to take sides when I don't have any way of verifying. If I had a way to verify, then I probably would. But because I don't know, it's just one person jumping on social media and saying this happened. I try to just be open, be curious. That's one of the biggest lessons I've learned in the past year. Just be curious. Don't jump into taking a side and saying, yes, this person is evil because this person said, So if the reason you're telling your story is so that it helps you because you want to unburden, I think you should, and I would prefer to still be respectful, so you can disclose things without having to really. I prefer, anyone could say anything, but calling out people's names on social media unsubstantiated, that's dangerous, because if there was any lie in that story, it not only has destroyed the girl who has taken her own life, it destroys her family as well. It destroys her father and everybody else whose names were mentioned there. So for me, I just think a bit of caution. And it's not just the people who are telling the stories, it is those of us who watch, who listen to these things as well. Is before you jump into castigating the family and calling people names and jumping, just stop and think, like, maybe true, maybe not. It may be true, it may not be true. We don't know. And there was this whole backstory that this girl in question had some mental health issues. Now, if you've ever dealt with someone who has mental health, I have been accused of things that I still don't understand how I could even possibly do those things. So if you've ever been accused by someone with a mental health, the problem with a mental health condition is the person absolutely believes what they're saying. There's nothing you can do to convince them otherwise. Okay? So if someone in that state who believes 100%, who believes what they're saying, if they come out and say this person did that thing, they believe it. That's the problem. They're not even lying in that state. They actually believe what they're saying, but it's still not true. So I just feel like the rest of us, we owe ourselves a duty to be mindful. When you hear things, be mindful. Just think that there might be another side of the story which we don't know about. I'm not advocating for anyone here. I'm just saying be open-minded and be mindful. Okay? Again, if such a thing really happened, I think the most important thing for a person who wants to tell their story is to seek redress. So what do I want to get out of this? Okay? If that's your aim, do it the right way. Okay, if I've been abused as a child and I'm coming out and I'm talking about it, now what do I want to get out of this? I want to maybe stop this person from doing it in future or whatever. So do it the right way, right? Do it the right way. There are channels to these things. So you coming out on social media and screaming blue, after all said and done, people say, oh, wow, okay, and share the story, share, like followers. You're going to get followers that day. You're going to get like 5,000 followers. And that's where it ends. That's really where it ends. Nothing, maybe a few inbox messages, of maybe people telling you of their own story. Oh yes, I was abused too, or prayers. That's really where it ends. So nothing gained. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Again, you didn't stop the person. If that person was truly dangerous, you haven't done anything to stop them. You haven't done anything to teach anyone anything. And then lastly, seek help. If you, as part of your story, need help, I believe even seeking help before you go public and scream and shout, seek help, because some of these things could be damaging. Like I'm just saying, assuming it happened, don't go out in your broken state to start screaming. You've got to seek help. Seek the right help. Walk through it with a counselor, with whatever. Get the right level of help, so that you're well enough in yourself to then decide. Because many of the people that come out in public and do all these things, they're doing it because they haven't been helped, they haven't healed. So they are speaking from a point of bitterness, from a point of confusion, maybe like I want to get at this person and I want to ruin their lives or whatever. And so I think, order things properly. So seek the right level of help. If it's something that's been a crime that's been committed against you, get the right level, get justice, seek redress. That's fine, that's acceptable. And speak your truth, but be honest and be, stand in your truth and be honest. And then for those of us who listen, be open-minded. You are only hearing one side of the story. Like the story that came out last week, there's two different sides of the story that, if you had jumped on the bandwagon with the first person who came out, and then this wife comes and counters the story and says, well, it never happened, this is my evidence and all of that. So what, all the comments you've put out there before, what do you do with that? So I think we are very quick to jump, and make conclusions based on the first thing we hear. But one of the things I'm learning to do is to just be curious, be open-minded, and don't encourage. I think, encourage this sort of, you know, first story out. Let's murder this person. Let's burn this person up. So yeah, that's just my take. I'm not saying that she was right or wrong. I don't know the truth to the story. It's just a trend that's really, really taking speed. You know, people coming out on social media and just saying what they like. You know, hey. All right, thanks guys.